Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi, WYAD 94.1 FM, and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, those tuning in through online affiliates around the world, including our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. Glad you all could join us as well. Well, if I say the name Katie Linendoll, you probably know her as an Emmy Award-winning television personality, but she's also an individual who's been able to share her passion about a lot of great projects over the years, and this year is no different. She's released her very first EP. It's called JERICHO Battle Cry. We're going to talk to Katie not only about what it's been like for her to release this EP, but also to share a powerful message about faith and I think encouragement, and also helping a great cause along the way. Katie, so glad to have you with us today. Really appreciate the time.
Oh, Cyrus, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, look, I've already got my EP on Amazon. It is available on all the major online retailers. First of all, how does this feel, Katie? You're so used to coming on programs and talking about other people's products and services. How does it feel now to be talking about your own with JERICHO Battle Cry?
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you, to be able to share my faith and unapologetically and with just conviction, it feels great. So, and I'm so appreciative to people like you that have me on and allow me to share this project and this journey, which is just getting started, which is the most exciting part. And it's been surprising people, you know, as you were noting, I'm known in the world of technology, and that world of tech is not going anywhere. I like to tell people, you know, we have these sparks, these passions in our life, and we have to take these God-given talents and gifts and put them to work. And you might be doing 2 things, you might be doing 3 things, you might have different hobbies, different side projects. Go for all of them. Whatever makes you happy, get out there and get after it, right?
Katie, I'm so glad you said that, because when I first got the first announcement about your EP, what I thought about was it's just like Jesus' disciples. You know, you had physicians, you had carpenters, you had fishermen, people who had professions and passions and interests, but it still did not take away from their faith and passion for it. So, you know, with this, even with the title song, JERICHO Battle Cry, I've heard it now several times, and one of the things that stands out to me, of course, we all know the account with Jericho, but I love the fact that you talk about eliminating the fear. How has that helped you along this journey, Katie, to talk about not only your faith, but also how we can be able to get rid of the fear to be able to better discover our faith?
Oh, what a wonderful question. And you nailed it. I mean, in terms of the lyrics, there is, in the chorus, it says, fear knows no place here, hear the battle cry. And I always tell people, you know, and not tell, but share with people, faith over fear. Faith over fear. Have your confidence in the good Lord that everything's going to be all right. If you are standing on those foundations of faith, there's nothing to be afraid of except the good Lord himself, right? So I think it's just a critical time, especially right now and where we're at. And maybe we were made for a time like this, but we're also made to stand proud, to stand with vigor, and to just be unafraid.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean we won't have our challenges, right, Katie, because even in the singles like Why Oh Why, you know, you kind of address that. But I love the fact that you are able to lead people with these songs with the idea that they are not alone. They don't have to go through what they're doing alone. How has that helped you along your own journey, not only professionally but personally, to know that, you know, as long as you were staying within God's will, that you would be able to be successful?
It's been such an integral part of my life and faith, and I'm glad you brought up the song Why Oh Why, because I think that paints a perfect example. Why Oh Why was a song about losing one of my little besties. You know, I've been a proud volunteer in the world of pediatric cancer, and that song, by the way, 50% of all profits, and all of my songs are tied to a small nonprofit, and this one is tied to his foundation. His name was Cole Winnefeld. And you have these moments in life, just like you had said, where you have these ups and downs, these hills and valleys. And when Cole had passed away, and it's a long, hard fought with pediatric cancer, but you have that moment where you're like, God, why? Like, I just, and the song is about, like, take me instead of him. Take my light instead of Cole's. And watching the family struggle and put so much over the years and taking them all across the country to try to get better. But you have to remember that you have these foundations of faith, and there are going to be ups and downs, and you are going to have these journeys. But God's got your back. And I think for me, and the moments, and even in my career, as something that I'm so known for, publicly facing and on mainstream television, you have these moments of frustration that are challenging, but you always got to have, and you have to take a beat and say, all right, I got to remember my foundations. I got to be a good Christian in this moment, and I got to stay firm and stay true to who I am. But remember that He's got your back. He has got your back.
And I think that sets an example even by itself, Katie. I've been hosting the show now. This makes our 18th year, and I've always told people I felt like this was an extension of my personal ministry, because I think we are not only sharing information, but we're also showing God in the way that we treat people, in the way that we're able to respond to situations. I introduced you in the beginning, and people have gotten to know you as an Emmy Award-winning personality. Do you think that is because of your faithfulness and because of your reliance on God and not yourself?
Oh, my goodness, 100%, all thanks to him. And, too, I think you said something that I want to touch on really briefly. We have these platforms, and people would say that talking about our faith is risky, and we know that to be true. And sometimes I ask, how did we get to a place like this? Why is it risky? Why are we the rebels? But we have this great platform, and you do feel a responsibility for everything that you have been given and all the blessings that you've received, to be able to use it as a source for good and to be able to evangelize. I feel like a sense of obedience and responsibility to be able to share the good news through the platform that I have, as probably do you, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think that's so important for us to do that and to let people know it's okay to do that. And I think, and I love the fact you mentioned responsibility, because we do have that. I mean, we've been given, as the scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required, and so it's a great reminder for us. So, Katie, you referenced something, and I want to go back to it as we're talking about the EP here, Jericho Battle Cry. You mentioned, of course, the proceeds and how you are even supporting other causes. Why has that been so important for you to do? It's one thing for you to embark on this new journey as a recording artist, to be able to release this EP. Why has it been so important for you to give back along the way, too?
Honestly, it just felt like the right thing to do. I have such a blessed career in the world of technology, and to be able to self-fund this project, it wasn't just about being able to self-fund it, but also to give back. I wanted to inspire first and foremost with the Christian music, and for all the right reasons, but then also with the proceeds from the merchandise and also the streaming, and God willing it does well, I wanted to be able to help others. And each one of these tracks is tied to a small nonprofit that is very close to my heart. And I love that they're small ones, too, because they're ones that can directly be so impacted from each sale, from each purchase, from each download. And, for example, Jericho Battle Cry, which is so appropriately lined up with Bugles Across America. And what Bugles Across America does, they are a small nonprofit that helps veterans. If you've ever been to, I come from a very proud military family. At a veteran's funeral, the sound of taps is sounded by a bugler. And a lot of people don't know that there is a shortage of bugle players across the country. So oftentimes it's such a gut punch. Could you imagine a veteran not getting the sound of taps at his funeral, or a recording being played? To me, when I had heard the story of Bugles Across America years ago, I was like, oh my goodness, people need to know about this and need to support them. To date, they have provided over 2 million hours of volunteer time for buglers at veterans' funerals. So I'm so proud, again, Jericho Battle Cry, to be able to be tied to Bugles Across America. And each song is tied to its own cause that I have hand-selected, which was kind of hard to narrow down, but it just feels good to be able to support. And they're so excited, too. They're like, oh, my gosh, this is a big deal. So it's been a real thrill to be able to just have others along with the journey and to just support others.
Exactly, and we're so glad to be able to support you by supporting this project. Again, everyone, we've been speaking with Katie Linendoll. Her new EP is called Jericho Battle Cry. It's out now through your favorite online retailer. Of course, our partner here is Amazon.com, but you can get it through all of the great sites, including iTunes. I know this is already charting well on iTunes as well, Katie. And, Katie, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Oh, please do. Yes, I'm at Katie Linendoll across the board on social media. And then, of course, katielinendoll.com/music. And just as you noted so kindly, anywhere you find your music, you can find Jericho Battle Cry. And we got to keep it on the charts because we're doing good things.
There you go. Yes, you are. Katie, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Honestly, I can say, because you want to hang out all day. Like, can we do this daily? You're amazing.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
Look, don't give me any ideas, Katie.
I was like,
look,
wow, blown away by this interview. It is a blessing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You have been a blessing to so many, so we're glad to help spread the word for sure, Katie. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.